Today is the topic of, does the one exist? And the reason that I'm talking about that today is because I think that there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of propaganda online about soulmates and twin flames and will I ever find the one? And it's a very sort of magical thinking, delusional, delulu type of way of seeing relationships. And I want to offer a different way of looking at relationships because thinking that the one is out there or that I have a soulmate or twin flame out there can set you up for failure because it can make you believe that you don't have a choice, number one, and number two, that love and that relationships are super fantastical and like they're always romantic. I hope that a lot of you guys know relationships aren't romantic all the time. Maybe in the beginning they are, but there's a lot of work, a lot of jumping through hoops that goes into being with someone. And instead of thinking, is this person the one for me? Because it's a choice. Even if you say this person is totally the one for me, you can decide in a month, I don't think that I want to be with this person anymore. And then in a few months, find another, the one, right? There is no such thing as the one. There's only that in who we choose to turn into the one. So if you frame all of your relationships that way, your romantic relationships that way, that this person is going to be special because I chose them, because we chose each other, because we're choosing to create a special connection by putting in the work. And it is work. Hi there, it is work. And I talked about yesterday in one of my lives the 7-year itch. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch Marilyn Monroe in The Itch. Abdul. So Celtic Cross readings are $20. And you can email me if you would like a private reading. Hi, friend. You can watch Marilyn Monroe in The 7-Year Itch. And it is about a married man. And he's been married with his wife for 7 years, and he starts to get the itch, right? Their relationships comes to a lull, and he starts to desire other women again. So once again, there is no such thing as the one. There's only that in which we choose and that we can build a special connection with. Hello, Vishal from Nepal. Hi, you're living in Texas. That's cool. I've never been to Nepal. So anyway, I think that this is an important topic because I think it could help you guys put less pressure on yourselves when it comes to this is the one, I can't mess it up. Because it's not so much so that a relationship is destined. Every relationship that we come across is destined to be in our path because it's destined to teach us a lesson in one way or another. The only special one is that in which we choose. The connection itself is special because we choose it, not necessarily a specific person. Because we're going to come across a lot of the ones in our lifetime. And I think it's important and I think it's emotionally mature of us to think of a relationship as this fleeting encounter. No matter how long they stay in our lives, it's still a fleeting encounter. It's still something that's going to teach us a lesson, whether or not we choose to give them a title and put value, ascribe value to this person and their connection is a whole nother level of a relationship. So if you see somebody in your life and you see that they make you feel a certain way, you want something more with them, that person has to choose it too. So in other words, what I'm saying is that you can choose to make any person be the one, and what it is it's the one who I am building a special relationship and a special connection with. So if you can reframe your relationships that way, I think that you'll see that you'll have a lot more success with those people that you decide to settle down or to be together with, build something with. Namaste, Pear Bailey. Yeah, so I'd love to hear what you guys think about it, because I'm open. I think we have a lot of soulmates, a lot of different people that we're meant to connect to teach us different lessons. I don't necessarily think it's just one person. Hi, Nia Official. Hello, guys. It's not necessarily just one person. We can choose to build a relationship with any darn person that we please. And maybe we decide 1 minute this person is cool and chill and I want to try with them, and I realize we don't have compatibility. That person was special, but now I'm going to go and move on to someone else who makes more sense for me, and I'm going to choose that person to be the one that I build a relationship with. And you can do that too. And that takes away the pressure to fit into a box, fit this person into the box that I've created of the one in my head, right? Because a lot of us, even from a young age, think about who you're going to settle down with, think about who you marry, and when you grow up, you realize that relationships and people are fallible. We make mistakes. We're not perfect. They don't live up to the expectations that we build in our mind, and it is better to see someone for who they are than to try and make them fit into this idea of a partner that we have built in our heads, built in our minds. That person isn't real. They're not real, and they may not even be compatible with you. Let's say, you were young and you fantasize about having a bride or a husband or a groom. You fantasize about it and you built them up in your head, and maybe now you're older, you're an adult, you meet the person who looks exactly like that fantasy person in your mind. They have all the attributes, okay, whatever those the attributes are. That can be anything. They're funny, they're smart, they're intelligent, they want to be with me, they're loyal, right? But maybe that person has a lot of flatulence. Maybe that person has some acne. Maybe that person isn't ready to commit. They become a real person. They have faults. They have flaws. And so now we have to change our narrative about the person that we want to be in a relationship with, the person that we want to settle down with. We change our narrative, we change the story in our head, and it becomes more realistic, and it becomes work. Because even though you want to choose someone, they may or may not choose to have a connection with you. They don't want to put in the same amount of work. They don't have the same ideals. They didn't have the same relationship built up in their head since they were young, like some of us did, because not everybody does that. I don't have a broom. I have a broom over there. So let's pull some cards on it. I like to use the cards as a talking point. Of course, everybody can have their own idea of what a relationship is. If you want to believe that there is such thing as the one, carry on believing that. No judgment here. But I just think that there's better ways to see relationship. There's better ways to categorize that. We have the Three of Swords here. I absolutely think that it can break your heart to think that there is such thing as the one. Because you can have a lot of connections with people and still end up being single. And I use this example all the time. Drew Barrymore one time said on her show that she never met the one. And it breaks her heart every time, right? Every time she thinks about it, because she's comparing herself to other people who are married and have been in marital bliss for a long period of time. And all it really does is break her heart a little more and more when she does that. So instead of saying, I haven't met the one, she could reframe it and say, I haven't met someone who's compatible enough with me to build a life. But I have had a lot of special connections. At this stage in my life, I haven't met someone to build a relationship with. That kind of takes away this magic, fantastical idea of it, right? And I feel like it's more realistic, and hopefully it doesn't trigger you to have some sort of feeling of emotional loss or pain. Connecting on a spiritual level. Yes. I'm from the United States. Hey guys. Yes. So building up this idea of a relationship, of it being this fairy tale, of it being that there's only one person who I'm meant to be with and I haven't met them yet, can really trigger you to feel a lot of pain and a lot of heartbreak. So instead, we can see it differently. I haven't found the right person to build my life with yet, but all the relationships I have had were special at that time and taught me something. Five of Wands. Ooh, this is a good one. So I feel like if you kind of are putting this idea of a relationship or a partner, a long-term partner, on this pedestal, and you have a checklist, everybody has to measure up to these standards that I've created in my head, then you're making other people compete to fit this idea of a fake person in your mind. And yes, it can cause competition within the people that you're dating, within the dating pool, but it can cause a lot of internal conflict for you to try and measure people up to that, because there is no such person. That person doesn't really exist. So taking that idea out of your head that there is this one magical person for me will help alleviate a lot of internal anxiety and help alleviate any kind of competition within the people that you're dating, to have them measure up to this standard in your head. I choose you as you are to build something with, instead of you have to meet all these metrics to be with me. Yes, it can cause a lot of conflict. And then the fives in tarot are all conflict and pain and suffering. Queen of Wands, it's really empowering to see any person as a potential mate, and then it's really empowering because that kind of opens up the pool for you. Anybody could potentially be a mate for you if you have compatibility with them, if you guys have the same goals and whatever. And nowadays there are so many different types of relationships. There are polyamorous relationships, ethical non-monogamy. There's so many different types of relationships now that changes how we see the dating pool, how we see things. So we can kind of have a creative outlook on how relationships are formed and how relationships carry themselves out. The Hierophant. Yes. Spirituality and commitment plays a role in every person that we meet. I said it before, every relationship that we have, romantic or not, because there are platonic relationships that are very important to the development of your soul, of your person, of your character. And if you have a spiritual connection with someone, who's to say that that person isn't the one for you, whether or not it's platonic or not? There are a lot of spiritual connections in our lives, so let's not be dismissive about all the people in our lives who make us who we are and who help to shape who you are. And that, of course, is your connection to the divine. If there is a one, it's the divine. And I haven't said this before, but if you believe in the divine, then that means that you have to love yourself, because we are all a part of the divine. So, and in essence, everybody is the one, because we are all one being. That's Buddhism. It's probably going to blow your mind a little bit, but everybody is the one, because we are all the same being. So that, you may or may not believe me on that one, but if you follow Buddhism, the self doesn't exist. We are all one person. So if there is such thing as the one, it's the divine, it's the higher power, it's all of source consciousness put together. So in essence, that is the one. They are either a guide or a soul partner through that spiritual connection. Yes, we can have spiritual connection with a lot of people at the same time. It's not just one person. And in a sense, we are all the same person. If you break it down to our soul, all of our souls it's like Pangea. If you know what Pangea is, that is all the continents were once one. They were all connected to one another, and it was one big landmass that broke off into different continents. And that is how I see consciousness. All of us beings, human, animals, anything that is a sentient life form, plant life, we were all one soul that has been broken off into others. So in essence, everybody is your soulmate. Everybody is your twin flame. We are all one source consciousness. Need 3 keys to align. Destiny. Right, just because you don't end up with someone doesn't mean that it wasn't your destiny to interact with them. I think I've said that a few times in multiple ways on this live because it's a very important idea, a very important concept. History is a lie? Oh, okay. Well, there's a matter of perception, that's for sure. You can see things in perception, and you can distort that perception. Everybody that we meet and we encounter, we're destined to meet, and they're destined to change shape. Some people are so negative. All right, so Two of Swords. Sometimes there's people right in front of us who are meant to be in our life. Overlook them. Don't overlook the people in your life with the Two of Swords there. They're magical beings just like you, and they're here to remind you that love comes in all types of forms. All types of forms. Oh. 8 of Pentacles. All relationships take work. So in that essence, you could see somebody who is potentially a good mate for you, but you decide that you don't want to put in the work, or you don't want to put in the self-work to make it happen. Okay? Because like I said before, you can have a divine connection with someone, but it's not working out because the other person doesn't want to show up for you, or they don't want to do the inner work to grow and mature with you. So let's not discount those relationships because they're meant to teach you something as well. Oh, that's interesting, Tay. All right. Knight of Wands. Yes, just because, we have casual connections in our life doesn't mean that that wasn't important, doesn't mean that that wasn't special. We can see them all as having a place in our life. Okay, I'm probably going to end this live in a few minutes. Queen of Cups, have compassion with yourself and others, and see all the opportunities will open up for you to have more love. We have the World as well. So I feel like this talks about our previous relationships, right? Because, and I feel like I'm saying this for like the 1,000th time, that all those relationships that we've had brought us to where we are. If we didn't have those special relationships, exes or whoever, then that wouldn't bring us to today, to the people that we are meant to meet today with the World card. Starting a new chapter. I love that. We're starting a new chapter where we choose each other instead of choosing people who don't choose us back. Because I feel like sometimes that is what is preventing love from fostering love, from developing, is because we're not seeing. Sometimes there are people around us who are willing and interested to work on a relationship with us, but we don't see value in them because we have core wounds that are not healed. And once we heal the core wounds, we are then kind of amping ourselves up, raising our vibration, raising our standards, and attracting the type of relationships that choose you back. And the Magician. Yes. We manifest relationships. We make them happen. It isn't some magical thing. So taking away the one takes away it puts the control back into your hands. I am choosing this relationship instead of it choosing me. I'm choosing it. I am choosing to grow with this person. And that really changes things. That's interesting. That's very interesting, Tay. I never thought of that. Okay, guys, I'm gonna probably end this live today, but I just wanted to put it out there. That's something to think about. That's something to think about when you navigate the landscape of relationships. That every relationship is put here for a reason. All of them are special, and you can build the one. You can build a relationship with anyone and turn them into that special person if you allow it, if you're compatible with them. And if they're willing to work with you. So I hope that this revelation helps you in some type of way, shape, or form. And I'm going to leave it there. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.